Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello ladies and gentlemen. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Putri Utami, usually called Putri. I am here as the presentation host. In this presentation, I brought my friends from Studi Nursing Muhammadiyah University Semarang to explain about stunting from the Journal of Nursing Science Update with the theme we rise, namely funding Posyandu stunting. What is stunting? What are efforts to reduce stunting? And where does this journal research stunting? Next, it will be presented by Reza Khoerun Nisa.
Hey everyone, what we'll talk about first is what stunting is. Stunting is a condition of physical growth that is inhibited in children, usually during early growth from birth to age 2. As in a accompanying picture, this condition is characterized by a shorter than average child height that should match his age. Stunting can be caused by some things, such as malnutrition, insufficient nutrition, and other environmental and health factors. It can also have serious effects on children's physical and cognitive development. The point of stunting is the state when a child has a low height for their age. Then, the second is about the prevalence of stunting. The prevalence of stunting in Indonesia reached 27.6% in 2019, and around 2022-2023 it dropped to 21.6%, the second highest figure in ASEAN after East Timor. The stunting rate in Indonesia is above the WHO standard of 20%. The highest stunting prevalence in Indonesia is in East Nusa Tenggara, reaching 35.3%. Meanwhile, Bali became the province with the lowest stunting prevalence at 8%. Tegal itself has a stunting rate of 22.3%. This very high difference in number is influenced by some of the things already mentioned in the first slide. For example, in entity, many children are malnourished due to limited access to nutritious food, especially protein and iron. The difficulty of access to health and education led to a lack of understanding of the importance of nutrition and healthcare for their children. So, for the next point, the effort to reduce stunting will be delivered by my colleagues Chrisinta.
So, various efforts have been made to reduce stunting, one of which is prevention by monitoring children, the growth and development of children in Posyandu. Posyandu is a community-based health service to increase community accessibility to basic health services. Another way of preventing is by increasing funding from the APBM, APBD, and other estimate budget. The simple way is to always keep the environment clean. As is known, children are very vulnerable to disease attack. especially if the surrounding environment is dirty. This factor also indirectly increases the chance of stunting upstream. A study conducted at Harvard Kennel School stated that diarrhea was the three factor causing their health problems. Meanwhile, one of the triggers for diarrhea comes from exposure to dirty that enters the human body. Carry out pregnant checks and provide additional food to pregnant women to meet their nutritional and iron content. Another way is to choose a variety of menu. There to always provide a favorite food menu for children. Don't forget the nutrition and nutritional factor they need every day, during pregnancy and after. Mother also need to get good and balanced nutrition in order to avoid the problem of stunting. And finally, sanitation and access to clean water are two of the things that you can do to prevent stunting in children. Keep yourself and your environment clean so that no bacteria, fungi, germs, or virus contaminates your and your little one's body. You are also advised to always pay attention to the cleanliness of your body and hands because if your hands are dirty, it is not impossible for germs to infect the food that enters the body, causing malnutrition problem. Over a long period of time, this provide problem of malnutrition can cause stunting. Next, we will present by Noviana Permatasari.
Okay, thank you, Nisa. So, we are all aware that there is a lot of effort to handle the prevalence of stunting. There are many health programs carried out by the government, and of course, funding is needed to release these programs. Back to our topic, it's Posyandu funding. Where does the funding for Posyandu come from? So, based on the data written in the article, Posyandu, as an effort to handle stunting, received the main funding from the central government and village government. One of them is non-physical funding like TAK, and there is special allocation funds. Special allocation funds are balancing funds allocated by the central government through the state revenue and expenditure budget or APBN. For what? It's to contain regions with the aim of funding special needs, which are regional affairs as well as national priorities. Special allocation funding from the government for Posyandu is provided by the Health Operational Assistant or BOK. And what is BOK? BOK is a fund used to ease the community's burden on financing the health sector, especially service at community health center, reducing maternal mortality, infant mortality, and malnutrition. And for the local community service agencies, it's like puskesmas and hospital. Well, funding from the village government includes village funds and village fund allocation. Village funds are usually instead for a village to funds government administration, infrastructure, and community development, such as Posyandu. Other funding was obtained from the community and business sector. Um, First, from the community sector, there is non-physical funding like personnel from voluntary contribution And in the Posyandu sector itself, the funding is obtained from the companies that want or agree to fund the Posyandu program. Okay, it's enough for me. And the next slide will be discussed by my colleague Elycia.
Posyandu funds are allocated for incentive. Cadre incentive come from the health operational assistant and the village government budget. The Puskesmas Health Operational Assistant is intended to assist Puskesmas operation, such as effort to improve community nutrition. The Puskesmas Health Operational Assistant was used to provide cadre incentive, transportation, and training. Training for cadres at the village level is financed by the village government. Cadre training. Cadres require incentive and training. Cadres incentive come from the health operational assistant and the village government budget. The frequency of training varies between 1 to 2 times a year. Training is also conducted when cadres must be trained in using new anthropometric tools. The training needed is standardized training related to anthropometric measurements and is continuously held so cadres can carry out their duties properly. Compliance with standard anthropometric aids. To support Posyandu activities, anthropometric tools and supporting facilities are required. The standardized anthropometric tools come from the Stunting Health Operational Assistance, which produce 100 sets of standardized anthropometric tools in 222. These tools were addressed to district health office and distribution to the Puskesmas. Procurement of anthropometric tools by Puskesmas is budgeted from local community service agency fund and the village government budget from the village fund and village fund allocation. Standardized tools are needed for accurate measurements. They can increase public trust in Posyandu, increasing the vaccination rate of children under 5. Additional feeding programs. Supplementary feeding is a program for children. The provision of supplementary feeding at Posyandu come from the village government budget and voluntary contributions from the residents. The mothers who come to the Posyandu will donate money to the container. This is supported by research by Adia et al., which states that supplementary feeding fund come from community contribution put into containers. Procurement of supplementary feeding is also important because it can increase the vaccination rate of children under 5 to Posyandu. Next will be presented by Anggita.
My name is Anggita. Would like to present the section on advocacy for Posyandu funding. Advocacy for Posyandu funding. Implementation of advocacy is one of the health promotion strategies carried out by the officer of the health promotion program under the leadership of the community. Advocacy for Posyandu funding is carried out through stunting forums, which are present to the community and inform about facilities and infrastructure. This can be done through the Health Village House. The Healthy Village House is a joint secretariat for community empowerment and village development activities in the health sector. How does the local village government apply for a budget for Posyandu? The local village government submit of budget for Posyandu funds through deliberation. This also become a conflict between the local village government, and the Posyandu, who not only built to the health center but also built to the community.
Okay. So, the conclusion of this presentation is research that discuss stunting in Indonesia. One of which is the recency, which is the location for stunting reduction. This research aimed to determine Posyandu funding and was carried out using a qualitative approach involving 10 informants. The research results show that Posyandu funds come from the government, business funds, and the community. From this research, researchers provide solutions by strengthening cross-sector collaboration to meet operational needs. Thank you for filling today's presentation. I hope you have a nice day. That's all from me. I'm sorry if there are any wrong words. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.